India is a city in the state of Karnataka. To the southwest, there is a river not far from the city called Samala. There are many stone carvings hidden under the river with very strange shapes. Resembling grinding stones or upright cylinders. The top of the cylinder is a hemisphere. The name of the stone carving is Sivalinga. Do not underestimate this simple stone carving, as it is considered a symbol of the god Shiva in Hinduism. Although there are many gods in Hinduism, three great gods are recognized: Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Brahma is the creator god. Vishnu is responsible for maintenance. Shiva is the destroyer god. Shiva has many followers in India. Among them, Sahasrara Linga in Sochi city is the most famous Sivalinga pilgrimage site. It is located on the Samala River. Every year in late February and early March, the river water level drops sharply, and the Sivalinga carved on the riverbed rock emerges from the water. At this time, thousands of devotees gather to perform rituals. They pour water or milk over the spherical top of the linga, letting the liquid flow into the dish below, then out through a hole on the side of the dish. The question here is why people believe so strongly. And what about this strange carving? Let's explore in the next part of today. Scholars from various backgrounds have offered many different explanations, mostly Western scholars. When I first saw this image, the interpretation given was direct and mundane. Is this a fertility worship from primitive culture?
Look at the central pillar structure. It symbolizes the male genitalia. Very realistic, isn't it?
The dish at the base is called yoni, symbolizing the female genitalia. This original carving symbolizes the union of male and female origins. It appears not only in India but also widely in Southeast Asia. You can even find it in China and Japan. Therefore, these scholars think linga is nothing special. It is a remnant fertility worship relic from the Dark Ages, thousands of years ago. Those who study Indian culture more deeply respond that no, linga is unlikely to be just simple fertility worship. Hinduism worships Shiva because it symbolizes the cosmic system. Shiva is not merely a fertility god or simply the god of destruction. Shiva embodies earth, water, fire, wind, the 8 forms of space, sun, moon, and sacrifice. Shiva's body is the universe itself. How could it be so simple? Linga must have other meanings.
For example, the central pillar structure represents the central axis of the universe. It is a pillar of fire, filled with cosmic energy.
This issue has been debated by scholars for hundreds of years, with no one able to convince the others. Until the early 20th century, India had a local scholar, a master of religion and philosophy named Vivekananda. He provided an explanation that is widely accepted today. He said, "No, all of you are wrong. Linga represents the divine energy of Lord Shiva, because the Sanskrit meaning of linga means symbol and pillar, and it also means energy." In India's ancient Linga Purana, linga is the perfect symbol of the invisible God in the universe.
The upright cylinder and sphere in the middle symbolize the universe. The dish at the bottom is a symbol capable of containing the highest energy of the universe. In Hindu rituals now, as you see, they pour water from the top of the pillar, which eventually flows out from the hole in the bottom dish, symbolizing the manifestation of Shiva's divine power.
Certainly, linga appeared much earlier than thousands of years ago, even before humanity's historical Great Flood. They also believe that linga represents the perfect union of the universe's Vimo and Vimo. It also represents all things from birth to destruction.
The cycle of rebirth continues. The explanation is very philosophical. Many people were enlightened. Then, they began to study linga seriously.
This truly revealed a completely new perspective. Some modern researchers have proposed more specific and shocking theories. Among them is the researcher of ancient Indian civilization, Praveen Mohan. During an excavation at the Candi Kimpulan temple in Indonesia, archaeologists found a copper alloy wire, similar to the electrical wires we use today, and other objects that look like parts of a complex machine. Does it resemble the blades of a modern electric fan? Then, they carefully excavated around it. They found something placed on a small pedestal. It was an earthen pot placed right under the spout of the base. This is not standard in most ancient temples. We usually don't see this setup. Additionally, archaeologists also found jars quite nearby. But inside these jars, archaeologists found a strange organic substance incredibly well preserved. What is it? This is mercury. This is truly extraordinary because it proves that you are doing something very unusual. In ancient times, the bowl was often used to securely hold objects, acting as a natural fixture.
When water is first added, it becomes soft and sticky.
But when an iron plate or silver piece is placed in the pot, the bowl's shell hardens like stone and ensures no movement. Why is such a setup necessary? Essentially, this is a way to generate electricity. Exactly what ancient builders were doing here, generating electricity from the linga. But this sounds absurd, doesn't it? It seems pseudo-scientific to claim that items found here could produce electricity. Praveen Mohan himself conducted this experiment with his own hands. This is an earthen pot similar to what archaeologists found at the Kanduriya Mahadeva temple. A pot with a quarter being the bowl, a silver disc,
and 2 iron pieces inserted into the bowl.
Let's use copper wires like those found in the temple to check for electricity with a voltmeter. Surprisingly, nothing strange happens. Why? Because to have electricity, we need the power of the linga. Mohan proceeded to recreate a linga and placed a water spout right above the pot. For thousands of years, people have been pouring water over the linga. This is a famous phenomenon, a Hindu ritual. So, let's do the same with the linga.
As if by magic, we see electricity rising in the pot, gradually increasing and stabilizing.
We will get more than 0.5 volts of electricity. That might be what they were doing in this ancient temple in Indonesia.
Linga, the pot beneath the linga, the bowl shell, silver disc, iron disc, copper wires, everything. Except the voltmeter, which only shows the voltage generated, were found in the temple itself.
So, think about it. Could they have generated electricity thousands of years ago? If so, what did they use this electricity for? Do you understand what? Or if you think scientists are hiding something in the pot, then this recreated experiment is the evidence. The silver and iron plates act as the anode and cathode, while water is the medium for ion movement. From this, electricity is generated naturally.
Today, we can also activate other electrical devices.
But how ancient builders used this electricity thousands of years ago? Did they know it was electricity, or did they think it was the magical power of Lord Shiva?
This experiment perhaps reinforces the belief that the linga actually represents nuclear energy.
In appearance, its modern structure and nuclear power plant reactors are very similar.
The ball in the middle resembles the chimney of a nuclear power plant, while the disc at the base with grooves and openings resembles the bottom of a nuclear reactor. The structure of the disc handling wastewater is also very similar.
Now, let's briefly review the religious rituals of the linga period.
It involves pouring water from above to cover the sphere.
Is this the way to cool the reactor with water in a nuclear power plant?
Additionally, researchers point out an important point.
That is, nuclear power plants and temples with linga.
They are all located near rivers or lakes, as rivers and lakes can provide cooling water. Soon after, nuclear energy theorists propose the most similar point is,
nuclear energy can generate electricity and benefit humanity. It can help humanity prosper,
but it can also be weaponized.
Manufacturing nuclear bombs would endanger humanity.
India's Lord Shiva also possesses these two immense energies, capable of recreating the universe but also capable of destroying it. Therefore, researchers speculate the linga probably existed since ancient times. And nuclear power plants were only built by Indian civilization based on residual memories. So, we must speak of Shiva as the god of reproduction and the dual personality of the god of destruction. People today simply understand it from the perspective of reproduction, but ancient people viewed it as simplifying the object of worship. Do you have other concepts about linga or not? Don't forget to share with Shadow_Archives in the comment section right after this video ends. Returning to our content, when saying that linga is a symbol of nuclear energy to help people understand the origin of Shiva worship will provide an additional new idea. Each upright step of human civilization will be accompanied by an increase in energy usage levels. When humans could only move their limbs, in the era primarily using human and animal labor. Then human capability in transforming the environment was very low. But when humans could use coal and oil, that's when trains, airplanes, and ocean freighters began to appear. A large number of new tools also emerged from that. You can understand this process as the reproduction process. Trains and airplanes are precisely the products of new energy. When humanity entered the atomic age, when you can freely use this energy, then many more powerful things will be born. Of course, the energy humans use also gradually transforms step by step. Along with that, the self-destruction capability is also upgraded. Shiva is the god controlling energy, and like in the era of God, he taught humans how to use this energy. Afterward, he was also regarded as the god of reproduction, worshipping the god of destruction. Anyway, an important question still needs to be raised here. Did the Indian civilization of God truly master nuclear technology or not? The first nuclear explosion in modern human history occurred on July 16, 1945, in New Mexico by the Los Alamos Southern Laboratory. About 336 kilometers around the test range, a mushroom cloud slowly rose into the sky. The code name of this nuclear test was Trinity. Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb, by directly observing the experiment, he was very shocked. Right on the spot, he quoted a classic Indian work from the Bhagavad Gita to describe a person's emotions. Now, I have become death, the destroyer of worlds. And that destroyer of worlds is precisely the title of Lord Shiva. Shiva truly is the symbol of powerful energy. Now, Oppenheimer had personally felt that. In Indian mythology, Shiva lives on Mount Kailasa, the first sacred mountain in Tibet. Indians call this Kailas. Before becoming the great god, Shiva spent a long time practicing yoga on the mountain. It is said that after over 1,000 years of asceticism, finally, he achieved success and became a great god, obtaining the power to harness the energy of the universe. Also, according to Indian mythology, the rebirth of all worlds is divided into 4 periods, called the 4 yugas. Similar to Greek mythology, the so-called Golden Age and Silver Age, Bronze Age and Iron Age, completing these 4 stages, the world will be destroyed. The final Black Iron Age occurred about 7,000 years ago, so what about the time when Lord Shiva was alive? Perhaps earlier than these 4 periods, and how much earlier we still have no way to clearly say with the information available now. But the furthest estimate can only reach 100 million years. In that era, one of the best things Shiva did for humanity was dividing the 7 holy rivers. The holy river Ganges, or the Ganges River, in India, flows out from the majestic Himalayas today. After Shiva saw it, he feared it would cause disaster and harm the world. Shiva demonstrated his power with his own hair, dividing the Ganges into 7 holy river streams. The famous Indian epic named Mahabharata tells that Shiva provided the warrior Arjuna with an extremely powerful weapon. He said about Arjuna, "This artifact is very powerful. Any life in the 3 realms has no way to avoid its damage. When this weapon is activated, it will also make the sun become dull, cause hot air waves, landslides, and rock cracks." Therefore, Shiva repeatedly told Arjuna that, without a justifiable reason, this artifact cannot be activated.
Arjuna understood and bravely took it into battle. The two sides fought until pitch dark. The battle had reached a stalemate, with no way to determine the outcome if it continued like this. Completely helpless, Arjuna had no other choice but to release the artifact given by Shiva.
The moment the artifact was activated, a light stronger than the rising sun appeared, and a strong wind blew through along with thousands of darts and arrows.
All seemed to be flying towards the enemy, like casting a net. The enemy was attacked by the light and strong wind.
Their morale became chaotic and the enemy fled. This description reminds me of the scene of the first atomic bomb explosion, the power of the brilliant light that shot away.
August 6, 1945, 8:16 a.m., the little boy atomic bomb exploded in Hiroshima.
The fireball with a diameter of 300 meters radiated brilliant light. The temperature reached 4,000 degrees Celsius.
On the streets beneath the fireball, people walking vanished into dust in an instant. So, what is the difference between this explosion and the Mahabharata? Aren't all the events triggered in very similar ways? Did the translator of the Mahabharata into English know what an atomic bomb explosion site looks like?
The original is too old and the author is unclear, but the Mahabharata was definitely translated into English in the 19th century.
Translators of that time probably had never seen an atomic bomb.
Therefore, the translator could hardly have revised it later. The only possibility is that this passage described the original text quite accurately.
So if prehistoric India used nuclear bombs, it would probably leave a very large crater.
In northeast Mumbai, 400 kilometers away, there is a place called Lonar Lake. Seen from above, it looks like a circular pit with a diameter of about 1,800 meters and a depth of 150 meters.
When first discovered, geologists thought it might be an ordinary volcanic crater. But later, they found no post-eruption magma or any other signs of eruption. So scientists changed their view. They believed a meteorite fell from the sky. They also calculated the meteorite's trajectory probably came from the east, at an angle of about 35 to 40 degrees. What about the condition of the rocks around the lake? Their fragmented shape fits well.
In the lake, scientists also discovered a spherical basalt mass that had been vitrified.
They estimated that for basalt to vitrify,
the temperature must reach thousands of degrees Celsius.
Besides a meteorite falling at high speed that could do this, another reasonable explanation for the instantaneous high temperature is a nuclear bomb. The high temperature after the explosion could also melt rocks, thereby creating glass spheres. Finally, leaving a deep and wide crater-like hole as we see.
So, after all, is Lonar Lake a bomb crater, or from a meteorite impact?
Perhaps more research is needed to determine the timing of the event. Only then can we confirm the true origin of this crater. As mentioned earlier, some researchers believe Linga might represent the memory of an ancient nuclear power plant. So today, are Shiva Linga temples perhaps former ancient nuclear power plants? On July 14, 2008, the Hindu newspaper published a report saying that uranium had been detected in the groundwater of a famous temple. This temple is called Kashi Vishwanath Temple. It is a famous temple dedicated to Lord Shiva. The city where the temple is located is called Varanasi, a city in Uttar Pradesh, northern India. Varanasi is one of India's oldest cities, inhabited for over 5,100 years. It is the spiritual capital of India, with over 2,000 temples scattered throughout the city. Kashi Vishwanath Temple is just the most famous one in the city, known as the Golden Temple. The report stated that scientists took samples from 11 different water points in the city to test uranium levels.
They unexpectedly discovered that approximately 1 billion grams of water contained 2 to 11 grams of uranium.
This is unusual because uranium is a heavy metal, and uranium particles almost cannot appear in water. And strangely, apart from the Golden Temple, no uranium particles were found in water elsewhere in Varanasi.
So, let's support a hypothesis that Shiva Linga represents an ancient nuclear power plant. It is believed that this heinous temple, built since ancient times, is highly likely a nuclear power plant. That is, during the Mahabharata era, about 7,500 years ago or earlier, this temple could have been a nuclear power plant.
History of the Vedic world nations. When discussing ancient India, revealed that there were 12 technological energy centers, all dedicated to Shiva Linga. Watt thought these places were once ancient science and technology centers. Especially if they were nuclear technology centers, clues might still remain. Just search seriously, and you might discover. Then, in 2008, at the Golden Temple, uranium residues were again found at Gyanvapi Temple in Varanasi, somewhat confirming the speculation. Watt investigated Hindu rituals and found that traditionally, after creating a Shiva Linga, all must be placed underwater.
As mentioned at the beginning of the story, Sahasrara Linga is completely submerged.
Or as we discussed earlier about the 7 sacred rivers in India, all flowing through Shiva's hair, this also suggests a similar message. And in nuclear power plants, the water that cools the reactor is also a low-level radioactive material and a symbol of Shiva. Therefore, sculptures with strange shapes like linga, at first glance thought to worship genitalia, are actually the ancient people's way of understanding more complex matters.
This is a simplified symbolic representation, not an imitation of human body parts. Evolutionary historians believe that ancient humans in the early stages of civilization had rather low cognitive abilities.
Therefore, they often depicted exactly what they saw without thinking too deeply. Thus, I believe that wherever there is a linga, there was once an ancient nuclear power center.
At the previously mentioned Pascal Viswanath Temple, traces of uranium were found with concentrations ranging from 2 to 11 parts per billion. This number is much higher than California's safety standard of 0.65 parts per billion, but still below the acceptable danger threshold of 30 parts per billion.
In other words, the well water at Pascal Viswanath Temple differs from natural groundwater and resembles treated water from modern nuclear power plants.
Reactor cooling water meets discharge standards, with guaranteed radioactivity levels below the danger threshold.
We still think only modern people know this, until discovering knowledge of nuclear energy in the legends of Shiva's era. Perhaps it contains things that we have today. Through these studies and speculations, what is your perspective on linga? Share with us in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to the Shadow_Archives channel and turn on notifications. For now, goodbye and wish you all a good evening.